All right, we are live on the One Lap Down Facebook page with our guest this week, Reagan Coon, who completes the Lynchburg Hornet trifecta on the show today with myself and Brad Dunn. Reagan, how you doing so far today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, we're here. Brad's got a new haircut, so we're doing all right.
We recorded our part of the podcast before this one. Joe tried to play it and say that we were already recorded this, but that's not true. So here we are live.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to talk to you.
I would have got away with it if it wasn't for him. He kept whispering that we hadn't done it yet, but we're doing it now. And Reagan, this stems from a conversation that you and I have already had, a little small NASCAR conversation when I interviewed you for the Hive podcast for the Lynchburg Hornet Sports Network. And I was really interested to see if we could expand upon that, because anybody who listens to this podcast knows, or if they are a motorsports fan, Brad mentioned it earlier in our previous recording, it's a passion. It's not something that always gets covered in the mainstream media. So if you have that connection, people tend to gravitate towards it, and you make some really good friends. So even though you are wearing a lot of Chevrolet today, I will gladly bring you on, and we can talk about your love for, clearly, Hendrick Motorsports. And I got to start there. It was so funny on the forum. We ask you who your favorite driver is, and you put Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and then you just thought Hendrick Motorsports. Where does that come from? Where did that start, the love for Hendrick?
It's always been Hendrick Motorsports. When I was younger, I picked Casey Kane, and he was my number one because, the young girl, he was an attractive driver. And so, I picked Casey Kane, and then as I got more into it, I became a Jeff Gordon fan, and Jimmy Johnson, and now Alex Bowman. So it's always just been Hendrick Motorsports since the beginning of my NASCAR career, being a fan. I've always been Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah. So there you go. You can't get on to me anymore, Joe. I guess I'll look at you here on the camera set up across the studio. Joe gets on to me because I just picked Brad Keselowski as my favorite driver because we have the same name. So you can pick handsome drivers. You can pick them on their name. Yeah. That's one of the things I like about this, getting into these sports.
Well, at least with Reagan, she's got some winners too. So that certainly helps back it up when you have championships and victories and things of that nature. What about the love for NASCAR in general? Where did that come from?
It really came from my brother and my grandpa, because they were huge NASCAR fans, and every Sunday, or if it was a Saturday race, NASCAR would be on, and my brother would talk about it all the time, and so it just sort of, I gravitated towards it too. And then my mom got into it, and it was just a whole family thing. Every Sunday afternoon, we'd be sitting down on the couch watching NASCAR, or the races that we could go to, we would go to those. So
that's awesome. What was do you remember your first race, and what was kind of your memory of that?
Well, my first race that I actually went to was Martinsville. I don't remember the year, but I do remember Joey Logano won. So that was sort of, a bummer.
To some people.
It was awesome though, being there, and we got really cheap seats, so we were on row 3 in the back stretch, at the exit of turn 2, and it was just it was interesting being that close, especially for my first race. But that was an awesome memory though, getting smoked by all the cars and feeling the heat from them. And actually, Kurt Busch caught on fire right in front of us, so I felt the fire from that. So that was a pretty interesting race actually, to be my first one.
Cool. What about your favorite race that you've gotten to be at in person?
My favorite one was the 2015 final race down in Homestead, Miami.
Wow, that's cool.
That was Jeff Gordon's final ride. And actually me, my mom, and my older sister, we drove all the way down to Miami. We decided a few days before the race that we were going to drive down to Miami just to watch Jeff Gordon's final ride. And so we did. So it was just awesome being there and being a part of celebration for Jeff Gordon and celebrating his awesome career, and kind of sad seeing it come to an end, but it was just awesome being there, and that's something I'll remember forever. That was one of the top races I've ever been to.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw, they were going to honor him anyway. So
Oh yeah.
your driver gets the spotlight no matter what, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Now, one of the photos you sent me was actually from the Bristol race this past September
Mhm.
during the pandemic. I'm going to get to a question related to that, but the first thing I want to know, because I didn't know you'd gone to Martinsville, is can you take us inside the contrast of those two short tracks? I mean, those are the shortest tracks on the calendar, but
Mhm.
one is known for its high banking, and the other one, being Martinsville, is pretty flat. What's it like as a fan to see the difference between those two?
I mean, really, it's just awesome being there. I mean, Bristol definitely has like more of a hype dynamic, I guess you could say, because it's the Coliseum and the really high bankings, and so it's a different driving style. You definitely notice that as a fan, and being there, you definitely feel the cars differently because they drive differently. I mean, but Martinsville, being the paperclip is how it's known, there are some interesting strategies at both races. And so you really get to see that, when you're there, and, the restarts are awesome to watch. But also at Bristol, you get multiple different views because you can be anywhere around the track.
Right. Because it has that stadium style.
The whole Coliseum seating. And so that does give a different, depth to it.
That was, to me, I remember right before we went live, I was telling Reagan how I'm new to all of this and a new fan, and got real excited about it this past summer. And I think that Bristol was the first time when I really noticed the difference without fans. I think some of the other tracks are so big and the super speedways, but then when you see those shots from above of Bristol, and it was just kind of empty, right? It was like, oh man, I bet that's awesome when that's packed full of people.
Yeah.
You got to go there as a spectator during the pandemic, which we're still in. But what was that experience like? I mean, you had been there before this, so you know what it was like going in as a fan and giving your ticket and doing all that stuff. Can you walk us through what the check-in process was like, and then what it was like sitting in the Coliseum with 25% of capacity?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had some differences to it, and definitely, not being crowded was really weird. But I mean, tailgating was still the same, have that fun aspect of it, and the tailgating is still the same as it was pre-COVID. But checking in, you couldn't take any coolers or anything, so you couldn't pack your snacks or your beverages. Then I mean, you had to go through a temperature check, of course, and you had to wear a mask until you got to your seat. And, your seats were all spaced out with your group. And so it was really weird not being, packed in. But it's also kind of nice because you could spread out, and walk around your little area. You just had to have a mask on if you left your seat. But once you got to your seat, you didn't have to wear a mask, and you could, just have fun. But it definitely was a whole different atmosphere with only 25% people.
Yeah. I think that's that was something that we talk about, where it was great that we got it to work, but you missed that kind of roar of the crowd. And as we got more into it this summer, watching some of those old documentaries and the big races in the 90s and early 2000s, where you hear the roar of the crowd over the cars and the engines. That's something that I know is really exciting.
Yeah.
What are some of the other places that you've gone to see in person? Anything outside of this region? I guess you said down to Miami, but any other cool tracks that you've gotten to go to?
Well, of course, Martinsville and Richmond, of course, being in Virginia. And I've also been to Darlington. I've been there once. So that was an awesome race too.
That's the one. I've got good friends in down in South Carolina outside Charleston that are saying, we'll come up to Martinsville. You've got to come down to Darlington. And so that sounds like definitely one to take them up on.
Yeah, definitely. You're like one race away from the Triple Crown. I mean, you just have to go to Daytona and you've hit all.
I know. I've always wanted to go to Daytona for the Daytona 500, but it's never happened. But hopefully I can make that happen one year.
I hope so too. That's pretty cool. I've only been to regional stuff, so I understand how that is. Now, related to the drivers aspect again, obviously as time goes on, you have to pick a new driver. People retire, and Jeff Gordon did his thing. He retired. You picked up Jimmy Johnson. He's retiring. So, you've liked Alex Bowman before this coming year. Why is that? I mean, what about him as a person, as a driver? I know he's young. He probably looks good to you too. But is there any other reason?
Well, and we got to make sure before you answer, Reagan, we've got the whole setup behind you for people that just listen to the podcast.
Yeah, got all that.
She has got probably the best display. JP last week was in the garage. That one's going to be hard to beat.
True.
But she's got a fantastic display. So sorry to interrupt you, Reagan.
You're good. Yeah, I mean, I just picked Alex Bowman just because, I needed a new main driver. And, 88 has always been an awesome number, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And, of course, Alex Bowman, I've grown to like him as, a character. Like, his personality is awesome. And, watching him on social media and stuff, how he interacts and stuff, it's just cool. He's just a cool dude. And he has some cute dogs, too. So...
every little bit counts, right? Every little bit is helpful.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with all that 88 stuff? I mean, with him switching over, how are you gonna?
I mean, of course, I'll keep it. He's always 88 will always be a part of him, but I got the new
I see that
too. So,
I didn't even realize that the first time. I just saw 48, and I had to condition myself to remember that that's no longer Jimmy Johnson. It's going to be really weird. Now I know you're an avid fan. Obviously, that has been established. So, is there anything about the upcoming year related to new drivers or new tracks or anything specific that you might be looking forward to as a fan?
I'm really excited about Bristol Dirt.
Yes.
I would love to go to that race, but we have a tennis match scheduled for that day. But
I'll keep all three of us out of it.
Super excited to see them race on dirt. It's been 50 years since stock car has been on dirt, and I'm just super excited about that one. I mean, as a Chase Elliott fan, you're excited for the road courses because he's awesome at road courses. But I don't know, I'm just excited to see all the new tracks that they bring in.
What do you think about the odds of Chase getting it done again? Do you think he can make it happen?
I think so. I hope so. That'd be awesome. Get it 2 times in a row. But yeah, I mean, especially with the road courses being added, he's definitely got more of a chance.
Got 7 opportunities. I mean, we never had that many road course opportunities.
No.
Well, Joe and I talk about one of them being down at Circuit of the Americas, right down in Texas. Looking forward to that road course where we talk a lot about F1 and that being kind of like the track in the United States that they race on, and hopefully going to get to go watch that one in person, right? And what I think the road courses are something that I was interested in. Obviously, to kind of watching this year the legendary tracks at Daytona, Talladega to me has just become my favorite. I loved watching, especially the way that one ended. And we talked about that. Was it a couple weeks ago, Joe, where we talked about our favorite races?
Yep.
What do you? I mean, as for me, Reagan, as a new fan, what do you what's something that I'm missing so far? Do you think what's something that maybe you didn't know at first and you've gotten really interested in about the sport as you've gotten deeper into it and know more about it?
Just the whole dynamic of it, like how it works, just in the garage too, like the engineering and what all goes into making the cars. Like that's super interesting. And what the drivers, do to prepare for races, like their conditioning, getting in the sim rigs, like just the whole, what goes into it to take that best car on that Sunday afternoon, like the whole, process of getting that car ready.
Yeah, that's cool. And Joe and I were talking about, we've got 8 races this year, Joe, where they're going to have some practice and qualifying.
Yes.
Yep. But still, the other ones, just good luck. Off you go, like they were doing this past year. Definitely. So that's cool.
Reagan, what about driving yourself? I mean, have you ever done any of the Richard Petty racing experiences things, or would you be willing to hop in a stock car and give it a shot?
I would love to. I haven't done it. My brother has. He did it down at Charlotte, and I've always wanted to. It would be so much fun, and he enjoyed it. So I definitely want to make that happen.
Well, I have to. ask in a selfish way what he learned. Can he give any tips? Because I'm doing the same thing in June, so I want to maximize my 5 minutes and
Yeah.
know what's going on before I even get in the car.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He just said, you got a spotter, but he's like, I didn't listen to him. He came up on a car and the spotter was telling him not to pass, but he passed anyway. So, he didn't get in any trouble. So,
Okay.
yeah, but he said it was just a blast. You got to go through the whole course and everything,
Right.
the whole safety and everything. But he said
He was by himself in the car?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yep.
man. That's going to be exhilarating to do that. I'm a big compliance guy. I don't know if I would break the rules, though.
Okay.
Maybe once you get all that horsepower under you, you probably have
Yeah, he
more.
said that was awesome.
Yeah, that adrenaline pumping. I might have to break the rules too. That's the point.
Yeah, you look forward to that, Joe. I need to get better at playing my NASCAR Heat video game before I think about getting into a real. Reagan, have you played these games? Have you played them like on PlayStation or Xbox or anything?
Yeah, and I also play the mobile version on my phone.
Are you pretty good? I'm terrible. I need to get better at this.
I'm better at the mobile version, actually.
That's what I need to
Because
do.
they're like
Get my phone here, Joe. We'll get the mobile version is maybe what we need to do. Yeah, that's.
Is that because you get to steer with the phone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you tilt the phone and stuff, and yeah.
I just need to really go all in and get my $200 set up with a wheel and pedals. And all those things.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I kind of want to go back. My next question for you, Reagan, is going to go back to talking about next year. We talked about the different tracks and the dirt track and some cool things. Will you give us some bold predictions as a fan for next year? What are some bold predictions of things that you think could happen? Maybe not so much just what you want to happen. Alex Bowman winning it all, but
yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm gonna put you on the solo layout too. I want to make sure everybody knows this is your predictions, not ours. So we'll blow you up on the screen.
Oh, there she is. Full screen.
I don't know. Bold predictions. I
would say think about like the awards that are given. Obviously, you have the champion, you have rookie of the year, most popular driver, like those end of the year awards. Maybe you can get some inspiration off of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely think Chase Briscoe is going to have rookie of the year.
Hey, there we go.
That's not a bold.
Support that one.
That's the easiest prediction I've heard come on this show.
I'm all about that one.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be the best rookie. Champion. I mean, I'd love to see Chase Elliott do it again, but I don't know. I have a feeling it may be. I don't know. It's going to be Hamlin's year.
Oh, okay.
I hate to say
what about my guy Brad? What are his odds?
I don't know. He'll definitely make the playoffs, but I don't think he'll go far.
There it is. There it is. All right.
Sorry about that. But
what do you think? What about kind of too? I enjoyed getting to know. Coming into this, I recognize some of the names. Obviously, I've heard Denny Hamlin, and I'd even heard Alex Bowman before, and some of I'd heard of the drivers. But there were also some new guys that started making their way up. Who do you think some of the younger drivers that are going to have big breakout seasons? Who would be the one that you really focus in on?
I mean, as a Hendrick Motorsports fan, I like to say William Byron. Mm-hmm. He's still, making his way with the 24. He got his first Cup win this past season. And, I just love to see him really have a breakout year. As he's a young driver. But also, still got my eye on Eric Jones.
Eric Jones. Okay. Yeah. What about Cole Custer? I liked him a lot. I liked him getting his win this year.
I mean, he had a good year last season, of course. So yeah, he could be in the running to have a good breakout year too.
Let me expand upon the Eric Jones thing. Does he have to be successful with 43 and to keep stay in the Cup Series? And if he does he have a shot? I mean, we know that 43 car just can't compete with the others.
Yeah, I think he can be successful in it though. Because it is going to be lower budget than what he was driving in the 20.
Yeah,
a lot lower budget. But I mean, he's got some good talent. Because I think at Joe Gibbs he was just overshadowed by his teammates.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really paid him a whole lot of attention, the attention that he deserved.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So I think him moving to a new team, obviously it wasn't his decision. He sort of got, just pushed out. But I think him moving to the 43, they'll be able to focus on him and, make his car better with the budget that they do have.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned, Will Byron too. Go back to that. You're talking about him getting his win. How was that for you? Was that a little bittersweet? Because I think when he got his win, wasn't that what kind of put the axe in Jimmy making the playoffs? Wasn't that race this year?
Yeah, it was. So that was definitely a bittersweet moment, but it was still really exciting to see William Byron get his first win. Like, he's deserved a win for a while. And, being in that 24, you got to win when you're in the 24.
I will say that was so weird to me. Like, I knew those cars growing up, and the Jeff Gordon car and the Dale Earnhardt car. I was like, they still drive these numbers. Like, I would have thought that some of these people have a retired number, especially Dale Earnhardt, and I would have thought Jeff Gordon. And so it kind of threw me for a loop. At least it wasn't the rainbow DuPont car. That would have been. Then I would have been furious.
Well, Byron's already celebrated a victory by proxy last night since he's dating Ryan Blaney's sister. He's a Tide fan, Clemson Tide fan. So good for him. He's off to a good start. There's your
little gossip.
There's your little guy. Yeah.
That's where we'll put Joe's gossip corner on the podcast now.
Well, I want to get to, I guess, one final thing on my end, talking about the sport of NASCAR in general, and not so much motorsports, but you have continued to be a fan even through quote unquote lean years of popularity and even dips in the amount of attendance at certain races. What do you see from your perspective? What's NASCAR missing that might allow it to gain more popularity? I think the pandemic helped because it was the only thing going on consistently last year, but eventually we're going to get out of this and the headlines will be dominated by the other sports again. So I'm just curious. I like to ask other fans. I'm one that left it and came back. You've never left. What do you think could be? Yeah, Brad just arrived. So what do you think when you talk to other people or when you see it yourself? What might be missing or what still needs to be done?
I really don't know, but I think they are, doing good by changing up the schedule and adding those new tracks in and bringing back Nashville.
Yeah.
And, I think if they would incorporate other old tracks, like, bring some other old ones back, like North Wilkesboro, for example, they could, bring that one back, fix that one up, bring it back.
My mom's from down there, pretty close by.
Let's do Rockingham while we're at it too. I'll take
Yeah. And, but I definitely think them changing up the schedule, adding these different tracks back in, and, introducing some new ones to stock car. I think that's a good move on their part.
I guess I have a follow-up. Do you think that when it comes to like having characters in NASCAR, there aren't enough? Like when growing up, it was okay to voice your opinion like Tony Stewart and get mad and run and punch people like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, but now it's so watered down compared to those years, and I guess they want to take the other stance on the PR side. Do you think they need to back off a little bit and let some characters show a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I would love to see, some more fights happen.
That was, I think, the second race I got to watch this year was that Wednesday night, and I think wasn't it Kurt Busch that pushed Chase Elliott off the track late in the race, and he's out there giving him the finger, and I was like, wow, this is what I'm in for.
Yeah, but Reagan's talking about Noah Gragson and Harrison Burton type of.
Oh yeah,
that's you want to see fists hit face.
Yeah, I want to see some fists, or that time when Matt Kenseth just took off after Joey Logano and pounded him to the ground. Like I was into that.
I'm gonna have to look up some old YouTube videos. Get educated on this.
Yes, this is where we need to be, NASCAR. Listen up. We need to have like the hockey system. People need to come to a NASCAR race to watch a fight. Let's get this figured out.
Yeah.
Brad, do you have anything to add or to the conversation?
We'll throw one easy question at you to finish up for the day. I love all these different designs and paint schemes on the cars. Kind of, if you could design one, who's the primary sponsor and what color are you going with?
I mean, I just love it's hard to get past. I just love Alex Bowman's 88 Exalta scheme. The first one that he ran with, like the first one that he won with, that one is just that's just a perfect one because it's got all kinds of colors in it, and I don't know. But I also, I love the Ally schemes.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones that Jimmy Johnson was running this year.
So
Yeah,
they're gonna change it up a little bit for Alex Bowman, and I think they're going with the white number instead of the yellow. So that'll be pretty cool to see.
cool.
Yeah, they got to do something different, right? It can't be a carbon copy.
Can't be the same.
Yeah. I got to say, because of who I grew up liking, I prefer the Alex Bowman Valvoline machine. But that's just because I like those.
Like the Mark Martin.
Yeah, I was a Mark Martin kid. So that's where that comes from. But nevertheless, Reagan, thank you for doing this. I'm glad that we got to go even further into your NASCAR fandom as opposed to the little bit we talked about it last time we interviewed you. And more importantly, I'm looking forward to catching up with you again once the season gets started. We can start talking about the races and the drama and, these new tracks, and who knows, you'll get to a track and can come back and talk to us about how it was to be wherever you end up going. So once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Reagan.
Thank y'all for having me.